Hi, it's Darnell with Wave Oven Recipes, and today I'm going to be cooking up some apple cinnamon almond flour cookies using the Gourmia French Door XL digital air fry oven. And since it's so big, I'm going to cook up 2 dozen at once on a single layer and see how that turns out. So let's get cooking right now. So I've got quite a lot of ingredients to go over, and since I'm making 2 dozen of these apple cinnamon almond flour cookies, you can half this recipe to have just 1 dozen of the cookies. And so I'm going to go through the dry ingredients, then the wet ingredients. I've got 4 cups of blanched almond flour, 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of guar gum, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I've got 1 teaspoon of sea salt. I've got a 1/4 cup of granulated sweetener. Use the one of your choice. And for the wet ingredients, I'm going to be using 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, a 1/4 cup of honey. In here I've got 1 stick, that's 8 tablespoons of butter, and I've also got in here 2 large duck eggs. If I were using chicken eggs, I would use 4 chicken eggs. I've got 2 medium-sized apples here chopped up. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish getting all the wet ingredients in this bowl, all the dry ingredients over into this bowl here. So after getting the wet and dry ingredients into separate bowls, I put everything into this one big bowl and I'm mixing together my cookie dough. Since there's so much to mix together, I'm finding it a little easier just to get my hand in there and get down there into the dry ingredients that aren't mixing in and make sure that they're getting mixed in, because just trying to do it with a tool isn't really mixing them in too well. And I don't want to use anything mechanical. I'm just doing this by hand, literally now. Okay, now that I've got all the ingredients mixed together, I've got this bake pan sprayed with extra light olive oil. I'm going to start laying my cookies out. Before I do, I'm going to start preheating the cooker. So got it turned on, hitting bake, going up to 350 for the temperature. Cooking time, I'll leave it 20 minutes and I'll try and spin them about 10 minutes in. So just going to go ahead and hit start there while things are preheating. Start getting my cookies laid out, and Lord willing, I'll get them all laid out before the preheat is done. Alright, it turns out that I ended up having more cookie dough than I anticipated, because I had enough for the 24 plus another 5 that I had to put here on the wire rack. So I've got like about 29 cookies here. And so I'm going to, since it already started counting down, I'll put them in, then I'll set the time back to 20 minutes. So I'm going to hit the pause thing there. I'm going to up the time. Well, it'll be like 20:38, but I can stop it at maybe 28 seconds left or something. We'll see. But I'm putting this first one down here on like rack level, let's see, 5 maybe? Yeah, put this one on 5. And I'll put this other one up on 3, so it'll be up a bit higher. So using those 2 racks, and Lord willing things will turn out okay. Hitting start, and sorry for the beeping, I can't stop it, but it'll start counting down, and I'll see about maybe spinning things about partway through. Alright, things have been going for about 10 minutes now, so I'm going to pause, and I'm going to spin the top rack, the bottom rack, because of that groove in the pan, well in the rack, that groove in the rack, I can't spin it. I can only spin this bake pan that's a rectangle. So those on the lower level will just have to stay as is, and Lord willing they'll turn out okay. Put this back up here. I'm going to close up again, let things continue, and we'll see what happens. Sorry for that beeping though. I'll bring you on back. Alright, we've done 20 minutes and it's going into those extra seconds. I'm going to pause, basically to just feel things. I'll add time if I think it needs more time. So open up here, you can see how those look. I think they need about 5 more minutes. Guess I could spin, but I'm not going to. See the lower level. See, that lower level hasn't really done much. That's interesting. So I might need to do 5 more for the top and then do some more for the bottom level, since they probably aren't getting as much heat. So going out 5 minutes, hit start. Sorry for that. I'll bring you back. Alright, things have been going for about 25 minutes now, so I'm going to go ahead and pause. And you see the ones on top have a good browning on the top now. That's how they look. They feel like they're done. So I'm going to take these out. We still got the ones on the lower level. I'm going to leave them there on rack level 3, close up, and I'm going to add, let's see, maybe 10 minutes, and I'll just keep an eye on things until they look done. So I'll bring you back. Alright, I've let things go for, I guess, 29 minutes for this layer that was covered earlier. I'm going to go ahead and stop with that, with the last minute not really fully finishing out. I'm just going to check them real quick. They feel done. And I'm going to set these aside and let these cool off. Okay, so we got no shortage of cookies here. You can see the ones that were on that higher rack that came out earlier, and the ones that were on the lower rack that was being blocked from getting heat. So it took longer to cook the ones that were on the bottom. Once I got these out, they were able to basically finish up. So I'm going to get one from each to taste test. So I'm going to get this one here. You see the bottom, not overcooked at all, and I guess, of course not, because these were underneath it. But these that were on the lower level, let me grab this one, the big one. We see the bottom wasn't really overcooked, not really. So bottom looks pretty decent. That's pretty good. And that's the top. So I'm going to go ahead and do a taste test. So thank God for some cookies, and I'm going to go ahead and taste the one that was on top first. Okay, now I'm going to taste the one that was on the lower level. Okay, both turned out very good. The ones on the top, not having the bottoms undercooked, initially I was thinking before I ate the one that was on the lower level, I thought I would like the ones that were on top better because they weren't overcooked on the bottom at all. There wasn't any brown or anything. But once I tasted the ones on the bottom, I guess it was kind of like that reaction, kind of like a Mylar type thing, but the little bit of browning that the ones on the bottom got kind of helped to enhance that flavor. So I like the ones on the bottom better than the ones on the top. And so basically, the end story is only cook one level at a time when you're doing the baking in this cooker. And if you do just one level, then you're going to get a nice browning on the bottom and the top, and everything will turn out really nice. And if you're trying to do like 2 levels, you know, a level's going to be blocked and it's going to make things a bit of a hassle. For this case, I had a bit more dough than I anticipated, so I had to improvise. But try and do just like single level bakes, and things will be able to cook nice and even in a decent amount of time on just one level. So you basically got to see how things turn out. If you try 2 levels in this cooker, it can do it, but it's a little bit more work to do that. And so lots of cookies, and that's always good. So nothing in this video is sponsored. In the video description, there are lots of ways to help the channel, such as my cookbook, merch, memberships, donations, link to the Amazon shop, pay the same price, help the channel if you buy through that. And so with all of that said, if you did like the video, please give it a thumbs up, share the video with a friend, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification icon, and good eating.